Engineer Tan with a second book titled Playing Pretty, and Hafiz Sanusi making his debut with Voices in My Head. Let me first start by saying thanks to Arts House for this unbelievable opportunity. I've never really given a speech in front of people before, but I hope I don't mess this up. No, but truly, I don't think any of us expected to even reach this stage where we've garnered a following, having our family and friends right here, witnessing this incredible milestone for both Visual in Consideration and the Heart Drop project. So what exactly is Petua about? I think we'll have to go back to the beginning when Haziq and Nana first approached Jeremy and I with the aim of starting a project with a cultural motive. They are Visual in Consideration, they are this graphic design establishment. So VI were the ones who came to us proposing the idea and coming up with its name. They had a plan when it came to the creative direction and branding, and wanted to collaborate with the Heart Drop project, which would be in charge of coming up with the contents of the book. Jeremy and I thought, what a brilliant opportunity for the Heart Drop community. This is Heart Drop's aim, isn't it? To provide a platform for anyone to showcase their work. And even though this one was limited to only writers, it was a great stepping stone for us. For all 170 odd contributors to our website, this was our first big project. And so what followed was months of hard work, cracking our heads over how to materialize this idea, how to get people to write in and submit. Would there even be anyone who respond to our open call for submissions? We not only promoted the idea to Heart Drop accounts, but also to the general public, capitalizing on the potential of social media and through word of mouth. We were so anxious because as much as we did our best in constantly improving on ideas for this book, it really all depended on the public, on whether they wanted to be a part of this. That was then. And now, almost half a year later, the entries of 17 contributors were selected for the final book. Of course, even for those whose entries were not selected, I think they played a very important part in this process. So you can find every single one of their works at projectpetua.tumblr.com. I think one of the things that alleviated our worries regarding the response was the theme of Petua itself, superstitions. It's such an intriguing topic, isn't it? Superstitions, no matter how absurd or unbelievable they may be, have the uncanny ability to make us wonder. Did our grandparents really take them seriously? And how could they? And yet, these stories and warning signs have been around for generations. They've endured modernization. Against common logic, they're practically immortal. While some superstitions stem from religious beliefs, others merely act as precautions. Like, for example, don't eat in the dark, or you'll be eating with the devil. It's really unbelievable. But still, the real reason why our grandparents made a big fuss over these kind of things was because they didn't want us to eat in the dark so they would spill our food, isn't it? Going back to Petua, it really wasn't just about knowing more about local superstitions. No, we wanted it to go deeper than that. We wanted it to have sentimental value. We wanted people to really talk to their grandparents, spend time with them, get to know more about the different kinds of superstitions they believed in. And I think that was what made people want to write in. And so while waiting for submissions to pour in, we sourced for printers and publishers. We knew it was difficult for us to get a publisher because writers get rejected all the time. And I think most publishers would be skeptical about the market value of a book. But as the saying goes, if you never try, then you'll never know. We knocked on every door possible, and we left no stone unturned. Then, lo and behold, we found an unlikely savior in the form of Bashe Books. Bashe Books. Yeah, the one on the right, extreme right. They're actually more inclined towards design books, but I guess we were blessed and lucky to have Bashe help us with the printing and the publishing. I know I'm speaking on behalf of the whole Petua team, but I'd like to take this opportunity to make a special mention to my friends from Visual in Consideration, namely Haziq, Nana, and Hazwan. I don't think I need to elaborate on the great work they've done with Petua, from the open call banners, to the visuals, to the postcards, down to the aesthetics of the very book. I think VI's work speaks for itself. You can see online and everything, the way they design things, the way they do their illustrations. It's one thing to be motivated to work on something, you've always dreamed about. But it's entirely something else, right? To work on it, right, when it really looks like it's going to be a success the whole time. And I have to thank VI for that, really. Jeremy and I knew that we had to up our game, and work just as hard as these people do. For visual in consideration, I think this Petua project signifies a statement of intent towards the local market. That when it comes to graphic design establishments, right, I definitely believe that they will be making waves in the future. Okay, so remember the name, visual in consideration. And if you want to talk to Haziq, Nana, or Hazwan, they are right here with us today. Okay, this is Haziq. Okay, and of course, how can I ever forget my partner and friend, Jeremy Tan, aka JT. JT, say hi. Okay, the Hard Rock project is his brainchild and a common dream of ours. I don't think I know anyone else who has this great belief to emphasize to our society that art and the appreciation of art is not only meant for the skilled and the seasoned, but for the common people as well. He always felt that art shouldn't be restricted to the atas people of a society, but shared around, because truly we believe that art stems from the emotions and how we want to express them. It stems our identities as human beings, such that while each of us are unique when it comes to how we view things in life, right? Yet we are capable of understanding one another through compassion and sympathy, through the human connection. That's where art comes in. The Hard Rock project is so minimalistic in its idea. All you need to do is just go to the site, log into your account, okay, and then you can start posting any work of art you like to showcase. Be it photography or writing, or film or even music, and then the Hard Rock community will go through your work. And everyone else, right, who went across the website, they can either hard rock it by clicking on a like button or leave their comments. Indeed, the world is made up of stories, and we want you to share yours. Our dream is not only to provide an easy platform, but to also create opportunities for collaboration, just like what we've done here with Petua. So, here's to us, and hopefully we'll both manage this together in years to come, and may we live to see our dreams come true. So I guess I've come to the conclusion of my speech. Okay, it's quite a long speech. I think for the whole team, it's really surreal to be right here now, knowing that the book itself is in our hands. But while today marks a significant date in all our lives, the real show, the official launch itself, will be held on next Sunday, 31st March, at 211 Rooftop Terrace Cafe. Okay, it's on the 4th floor of Holland Village Shopping Centre. Okay, you cannot miss it. Holland Village Shopping Centre is one of the cold storage. Just go all the way up to the top 4th floor, and there's only one cafe there. Okay? And since we've labored so much for this, we're going to go all out, guns a-blazing, to make Petua's official book launch as memorable as possible. Of course, together with us, Eugenia and Hafiz will be launching their books as well. We'll be also having Petua merchandises for sale. And not to forget the open mic session afterwards, where guests will be treated with performances and poetry readings. Oh, and there will also be food. So I really hope every single one of you here will be able to make it next week at Holland V. It really has been a pleasure to bring Petua to the masses. This isn't only a tribute to the local arts community, but to our grandfathers and our grandmothers, who, without them, we will never be where we are today, and who we owe our vibrant cultures and identities to. So thank you all. I hope to see you next week for the official Petua book launch. Now I'd like to pass the mic to Eugenia, who will take over and speak regarding her new book.
Thank you, Sahan, and also Jeremy and VI for making Petua such a beautiful book. And I'm very honored to be one of the contributors for Petua. But also thank you everybody for coming down today, making time. I know it's a Sunday and you all want to sleep in, so yeah. Okay, I'm here today to talk about my second book, Playing Pretty. Okay, I'm just going to read my author introduction for you. And yeah. Okay, when I finished, this is actually my second book. So my first book is Songs About Girls. When I finished writing Songs About Girls and the dream of it materializing into a proper book took flesh, I was elated. And in fact, I'm the kind of person who is really good at suppressing my emotions. So no one around me really knew how happy I was until, because when I wrote songs about girls, I was emerging from a very tumultuous time in my life. And I felt that this book made me so satisfied and content that nothing anyone said would make me feel bad about it. But except of course it wasn't so. As with all young people, I might think that I'm somewhat invincible and thick-skinned, but I'm not. And people began to judge songs about girls because it was dark, it was crude in many places, and the school where I was educated actually rejected my contribution to their library. And everybody asked me, directly or indirectly, why are you so unhappy? So at this point in my life where my happiness at having my work out there still had not subsided, I was surprised, of course mildly upset, to hear many of such comments. And better yet, or worse still, however way you want to look at it, people started telling me what I should write about. You know, you should write about sunshine, you should write about rainbows, you should write about dogs, because they are man's best friend. Okay, I'm not being sarcastic here. I understand everybody's concerns, but I'd like to tell all of you here today that writing what is real and documenting what is real and what is sad does not make somebody ruined. Okay, I chose to write what I did because it came from a place that was authentic. And we as human beings, we always feel sadness to be more poignant than happiness. It's more riveting to us, and it gives us a chance to bond and feel our existence, that on this earth is accounted for. And although songs about girls had as many happy moments as it did sad, human nature takes what is considered happiness for granted, and people overlook this point and they choose to make their testimony and critique based on how the book brought out the innermost insecurities and discomforts that they had. So this might be an assumption on my part, but I stand by this nonetheless because it spearheaded this new collection that you are now holding, that I am now holding in my hands. So I set out to make people feel with my writing, and I wrote Playing Pretty as an extension of how we all like to suppress ourselves, as I do still sometimes. We want to put up a front that makes others believe the very best in us, but really, what is your best? You know, so I wrote a dark and sad book once, but because I wrote a dark and sad book, the creation is beautiful and therein brings out the light in me. I'm saying this not to prove you all wrong, but to tell you that I'm happy, I'm comfortable, and I may write things that people fear to confront on paper, but whatever ugly you choose to hide in you is still beautiful when you make art. Hence, this is my second effort in attempting to do so. So, as Sahan mentioned just now, art is not for better people. A lot of great artists that we knew are not exactly more moral. Like Mozart was a terrible spendthrift. Vincent van Gogh, he was destitute, and countless of writers are alcoholics. So I just like to tell you, regardless of all boundaries of morality, we all have that innate ability to create and appreciate all that is life. So thank you everybody for coming and listening to me. I'd like to hand over the mic to Hafiz when we talk about this book. Yes, Hafiz.
Hello. Okay, since we have time, I have a lot of things to say, but instead of saying, why don't I just do a reading first? Okay, this is the last poem in my collection. It's called If the World Doesn't End in 2012, and I wrote it late last year during the whole hoo-ha of, oh no, the world is going to end. So it's a prose poem, and let me read it to you. If the world doesn't end in 2012, then I want to break up. Yes, a breakup with you. Please don't get me wrong, it's not you, it's me. When you innocently asked if you had grown fat when you couldn't fit into that skinny fit jeans, and I answered, no honey, you look fine. I lied. Even 3 pairs of jeans wouldn't fit you. When I said you were the apple of my eye, that I really meant it. An oversized one. But although my eyes were gazing at you affectionately, my hands were kept busy on somebody else. If the world doesn't end in 2012, then let me sleep in. Let me forget what comes after Sunday. Let me forget about having to wake up at 5 to brush my teeth, at 6 to go to school, at 7 rushing for a bus crammed with mindless zombies. Let me roll in bed as I make love to my bolster repeatedly, over and over again. And while I'm at it, I'll even have my breakfast in bed. If the world doesn't end in 2012, then return me that $20 you owed me. I know I said to keep the change, but I want it back. Now. Money doesn't grow on trees and times are bad these days. A plate of rice cost me 5, that's 4 plates I can get. So please, give me back my 20, for I owe loan sharks money too. The world may not end in 2012, but my world will end if I don't pay up. If the world doesn't end in 2012, then I might consider getting a tattoo. The shape of a transcendental butterfly inked across my back. One that 10-year-old girls would cringe and want to lay their hands on. I might consider trying ice, K and everything nice. I might consider running away from home just for the fun of it. I might consider burning down all the mosques, churches and temples, the mark of institutionalized religion. Forcing me to bow down and pray to he who can't be named. I refuse to anymore. But if the world will end in 2012, then I will pray away my sins for one last time. I will give away all my change and never ask for it again. I will wake up early to see the sun rise at its finest hour, and I will watch it rise with you, my love, the apple of my eye. Thank you. Okay, that poem is my personal favorite, and recently I sent it for a competition to NUS Creative Writing Competition, and I'm quite humbled by the fact that it came in 3rd place for that, so I'm quite grateful for that. Okay, firstly, this speech I have to give my thanks to the Art House, to the committee here, the most important people, the Hard Rock Project, Jeremy, Sirhan for giving me this platform, Eugenia for her valuable advice, the VI team as well, and everyone here, thank you for coming. How do I start? Okay, how I got started. I got started on this thanks to the Hard Rock Project. You know, they kind of gave me the platform for this. I got an email from Jeremy one day saying that, quoting him, he said that there was a strong sense of localness in my writing, and he said, why don't you consider publishing it? So he kind of planted the idea in my head, and I told him, okay, why not, I do it in the future. Next thing I know, he replied back saying, okay, 2013 we are going to do this and this and this. Okay, you want to be on board? So I just said yes. So next thing I know, looking back, here I am now. And that was one reason. Another reason was that I'm also in this program called A Year to Live. And the thing about this program is that I am in my last year of my living. So basically I will be dying in December 2013. So basically in this program, I am faced to kind of confront what I want to do before I die. So this is one of the things, and it's a very interesting program, but there's another long story. So if you want to talk, I can talk to you after that. About this collection, Voices in My Head. Okay, this is a collection of 33 poems divided into 3 different parts. Yes, no, what if. Maybe you could just show the pictures. Okay, this is the cover. This is the first, okay, it's divided into 3 parts, and each part is accompanied by a design. This is yes. Next, this is no. And this is what if. Okay, I'll explain when I get there. But for now, as the title suggests, this is a collection of voices. But don't worry, I assure you I'm not mental or anything, but I do have my mood swings as well. As much as it sounds personal to me, but this collection is actually personal to every single one of us. It is a reflection of everyone's voices, a reflection of every person. The idea for this actually came thanks to my background in theatre, because I do performing, and one thing that I often have to do is character work. One thing that I do as a hobby is to people watch. I just like to see and I observe people, how they act, their behavior, their quirks, And don't judge me now, but one thing I do often is also when I look at someone's face, I try to de-age and age them. How they look like when they were a child, how they will look like when they are 80 years old. And I realize one thing, you know, the first thing that we do every morning isn't to decide what clothes to wear or what shoes to put on, what are we going to do today. But the first thing that we all do each day is to decide what face are we going to put on today. Like when I came here, the first face I thought of like, okay, I'm going to be professional, wear a blazer, stand here and talk rather than tell you lame jokes. So that is the face I choose to put on. And every one of us, we have to confront the fact that it's subconsciously we think, okay, what face are we going to wear today? More often than not, we embrace too much emotion that sometimes we just put on an absence of emotion, and I think that's perfectly fine as well. That's how this book is broken down. Because I feel that we as humans are divided, not divided, but we are governed by three senses: our body, our mind, and our heart. Not the physical heart, but more of the metaphorical heart. We are often torn with what we want, what we think we want, and what we actually want. Our desired wants, our rationalized wants, and our unfulfilled wants. So all these come into conflict, and that's how I got the idea for this as well. So this book is written with multiple perspectives, and to me it's very simple. When you read this, if you feel something, you know, if there's something that's lingering under your skin, something that irritates you, and you can't really pinpoint a feeling or a word to describe it, let it be. Let it linger. You know, because sometimes it's better not to put a word to describe what you feel. Just let it feel. That's what I feel as well. If you don't feel anything, just move on. Last thing that I will talk on is collaboration, because I believe in collaboration. I truly think that the time for the individual artist is dead. You know, nowadays the pursuit for art is more of a collective pursuit rather than individual pursuit. I think Hard Rock Project and PI is a good example of that, of how two worlds coming together to form one good art piece. I think they are a good example of that. I mean, there are pros and cons to collaboration. I mean, people would say that, you know, with collaboration, you know, the individual artists, like, we will never achieve great talents like the late P. Ramlee, the late Ko Pao Kun. All these talents are gone. But I truly believe that it is the collective pursuit that is more enduring, and the journey itself is more rewarding. One person that cannot be here today because her cat just passed away this morning is my artist Sky. She collaborated with me for the art designs, and my process with her is very interesting. I just told her that you know, I'll give you some samples for my poems. I want you to look through it, get a feel, and I want you to just design. You know, the only kind of restriction I gave her was no representations, because I like to work with liminal spaces. I don't like to work with definitive space like, okay, this is this, this is this. I like to work with the in-betweens, and I think she captured that pretty well in her images. And I think that's about it for my part. Thank you, and we will be around outside. So if you wanna just share with us, we'll be outside, and yes, do come by for on the 31st where we'll be meeting you guys. Pass it back to Sirhan.
Thank you, Hafiz. Okay, so now I believe that all three writers have already spoken. Okay, and I just want to remind you all, okay, for today, the books for Petua, for Eugenia's book, and also Hafiz's book will be for sale right outside. Okay, and for the three of us, okay, we'll be having our official launch next week on Sunday, okay, at 211 Rooftop Cafe, okay, from 2 to 7 p.m. Okay, if you want any details, you can just go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/Petua Project. Okay, or follow us on Twitter at Petua Project. Okay, that's all. Thank you for coming.